go.
Ed McVey, it's a
Here we
pleasure.
go. It's an honour.
Third time shooting.
Yeah.
Third time. No, very noisy in the background.
Very noisy in the
right?
background. Terrible. Honestly.
Favourite look from today's shoot?
I think the Dior that I had on today, but with the white shirt and the brown overcoat. Gorgeous.
Very exciting for you.
Oh.
How do you feel about The Crown coming out?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think it was a long process, and then it took a while. Not took a while for it to come out, but it hasn't even come out yet. But it takes a while just from like finishing for it dropping. So it's like a long process, and you kind of feel a bit in limbo. You don't really know, because everyone says, "Oh, your life's going to change. Your life's going to change," and you're like, "I don't know what that really means." So it's just like, but I'm excited for it to come out. Really excited.
How did it feel like walking on set the first day? Like, what was going through your mind the first day?
Yeah, it's like, it's terrifying. It was very much, and the day that I did, I was with Luther, which was good. And it was a scene in episode 9 where we're just about to do the funeral of the Queen Mother. So and it was a big scene. The whole family's there. There's extras. There's people doing food and serving food and drinks and everything. And all the principal cast basically just glorified extras in the background of our scene. So you're there and you kind of turn up and everyone's there, but no one else is doing anything apart from me and Luther. And you feel like everyone else should be doing so much more than what we are. But that was very strange. Definitely like chucked in the deep end. Plus we're in this massive like ex-royal building with like the gilded ceilings, and like it was very Crown very quickly. But yeah, you get used to it. You get used to these things so quickly, which is strange, I suppose, in and of itself.
Yeah, because it's I mean, I don't know, obviously. She's an actor. But it's like some shoots I've done, I've been like, and you get in your head a bit with it, don't you? And then you kind of turn up and then suddenly, do you have a little switch that kind of the adrenaline kicks in? And
yeah, sort of. And I guess like a trick, a little hack that I sort of figured out, seems ridiculous, but just like breathing. Like I found that I wasn't breathing for like the first couple of weeks of shooting. I was just so locked up, and I was thinking like, why do I feel so sort of stagnated? Why do I feel so like closed? And I realized I wasn't breathing. And then you kind of just like breathe out and you breathe in, and then it just instantly like centers you and calms you down, and you can actually like start listening properly. When I figured that out, it was like,
box breathing is so important. Like, did you do the 4-4-4?
Yeah. I just do a big like empty my lungs out, and then just like try and like feel the earth beneath me, and then you'd like fill up, and then you're just instantly calm and present, and you can actually just like do your job, which is good.
How did you prepare? So when you found out you got the role, how did you prepare for the role?
I mean, there's lots of research you get given. So you get given like this massive like research pack, and they have like some of the best like research team going, and they read everything, and they read the script like intensely, and they basically kind of fact check everything as much as possible, but also pull anything that's relevant to the script, and they put that in this thing, like a research pack. So you've got like loads of stuff about relationships and what people have written about relationships between characters, and then you just basically take all of that and you basically filter it through you, and you're just trying to make choices basically. And the script predominantly is about the script and the character that Peter wrote, and that's the most important thing. You're not doing like an impression of someone, and you also like have so much vocal training, and like trying to like they have very specific, especially sort of Will at that time, sort of like Etonian way of speaking is different to sort of the way the Queen speaks and everything. So yeah, so you sort of make it your own as much as possible. And also lots of like physical training. Tried to swim. I did a lot of swimming. There's some swimming in the show. Tried to get like, in your body as much as possible. And also like I tried to use the physicality to age him as much as possible, like how he is, like how his psychology changes to when he becomes sort of a man. So it opens up a little bit, becomes more rooted and less sort of, fearful of the world, and the world's quite intense.
And do you tend to do that? Do you do that thing where you stay in character?
I tried to stay physically in character as much as possible. Like I wouldn't like, call me Will. Like it was none of that nonsense. But I was like, I tried to keep like the voice a little bit as much as possible, and mostly physicality. I feel like when you're, especially with the younger stuff, because it helped me feel younger, to be honest. But yeah, physicality as much as possible I kept, but the voice came in and out.
I'm a huge fan of Imelda Staunton. What is it like working with her?
Like I think, the actors, that all of the principal cast have just been so helpful, and just not because I did get some advice, like verbal advice, but just like watching them just how they are on set, how they conduct themselves, and the differences on how everyone works. And it's just, you can just like pick and choose and just take bits from what everyone was doing and just mold that into your own work as much as possible. And yeah, it was just, I would just sit and just watch, even when I'm in the scene, just like watch them do their work, because they are wizards and witches of how they do their work, and they're brilliant. They really are.
What inspired you to want to be an actor? Have you always wanted to be an actor?
Yeah, I think I always wanted to be an actor, and I think I watched a lot of like big like blockbuster films, like my mum was in the corner, Independence Day. Watched a lot of Independence Day, like these big sort of like massive films, and I was a big fan of like Pirates of the Caribbean and a lot of Harry Potter, a lot of Star Wars, and I think for me, I quite like still do quite like an active imagination. These like massive worlds that are just created, and I think I just fell in love with it. And some of these, especially again, like my mum would agree, when I watched Pirates of the Caribbean for the first time, I would just like run around like Jack Sparrow, just like around the house, and just like I just loved it. And I think it was, I don't know if it was much of escapism, but it was more entertaining. I just love entertaining. That's why I got into it, and then over time of like learning the craft of it, that's when I got more excited about character and like building a character and character arcs. And I still love the entertainment factor, but now I'm a lot more interested in like transformation as much as possible, and the arc of a character and losing yourself. And people, like, biggest compliment when someone says like, "Oh, I didn't see you," you know, I was just watching this person. And I think that's to constantly aspire to that, and for one day myself to be like, "Oh, I don't see myself anymore." I think, and I don't think I'll ever achieve that, but it's just constantly, I think that's the goal for me. But yeah.
Unless you ended up in like, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but no, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that.
Right?
I'd love to do like, you know, like full prosthetics. I'd love to do like motion capture. Love to do, like, I watched all the behind the scenes of like Planet of the Apes, and like how like Andy Serkis like does all the physical work, because I want to be as a physical actor as much as possible. That stuff really excites me.
So if you could curate your dream role, what would it be?
What, just out of thin air?
Yeah, just give you the magic.
I don't know. I'd love to do something. I'd love to do like something sci-fi where you're like all prosthetics up, and you're like, when you look in the mirror and you're like, that is something else, and letting that sort of influence the way you are just by looking in the mirror and be like, who is this like beast or creature in front of me? Love to do something like that. It'd be great. And
it must be that magic of like, I've spoken to actors when you've done it all, you know, you do it on green screen and then you see it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it happened with the Crown and doing the, there's a balcony scene, and they step out onto the balcony and you've got this just sea of people. And obviously when you're filming it, it's just, you're in a parking lot and it's just like green screens. And then when you see that for the first time, you're just like, what?
Yeah,
the power of it.
Is it filmed at Elstree still?
Yeah.
Because I remember I was working up there on a shoot, and they said, "Do you want to come and see the set of The Crown?"
Yeah.
And I saw Downing Street.
Oh yeah. And they had the Ritz up there for a bit.
And they got the car rental places there, isn't it?
Yeah.
All the vintage cars.
Yeah. So cool. Such cool. Such a playground. It's great.
So it must be like mad, because when you see it, it's like the CGI. You just, I don't see it. I watch everything on
yeah.
the projector.
I
just immerse myself in
it. Like going to the screenings and like seeing, because obviously Buckingham Palace, they only have like a little bit made up, and then they have green screens around it. But when you see it and you're like driving in, it looks like Buckingham Palace. It's nuts. It's just it's amazing. I have no idea how they do it. It's nuts. I think Jimi Hendrix would have some cool conversations. I think he'd be pretty wild. Napoleon, because I want to see if he's actually that short, if he's actually that sort of crazy. Freddie Mercury. I just think he'd just be a great party guest, and he'd be just great entertainment. I think he'd just be fun to have around. So yeah, those two. That's a weird eclectic group of people.
Pretty big party.
We got Jimi Hendrix, Napoleon, and Freddie Mercury. Yeah.
Do you ever remember your dreams?
Yeah, so I have. So because I saw the question, and every time when I think of this dream, I have this really vivid. It's the one dream where I'm like, that I keep coming back to. Not necessarily in my dreams, but it's just an image that I have that I think it happened. I think I had the same dream. I was probably about 12 or 13, and I kept having this dream, and I think I had it a couple of times in the space of a couple of weeks. And basically, you know the salt plains in America?
Yeah.
There's like those really white, like open spaces. Uh-huh. So it was there, and there were these, it's quite weird, and there were these like derelict houses, just like dotted. Yeah, it's quite, and I always think I'd love to make like a short film or a film like this, or like have a moment like this, where it's like these derelict houses that are like broken up houses in these white, like planes, and I just remember like seeing them all. And it's an image that I have so vividly of just like these 360 like houses, and just they're kind of like broken up and like kind of cracked, and like there's windows are all broken and everything, and like the paint's peeling. And I just have these really vivid images in these like salt plains. And I can just, whenever someone mentions dreams, that image just like flashes in my head. And I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's like my old, like if I was like, I'm getting into it now.
Previous life.
In the cycle. Yeah, like previous life. You know when people have like mind palaces? Imagine if it was like the brains of your like the souls of your previous existences.
I massively believe in that, because I always, not a dream, but I have a vision all the time that I'm on a talking about the white sand dunes.
And
I'm riding on a camel.
Whoa.
And I've never ever been on a camel in my life.
Okay.
But I can close my eyes now and see it.
That's nuts. I always think deja vu's that as well.
Yeah.
It's like you've been somewhere in a past life, even you've never been there before, and you get like this feeling of, I've been here before, and there's something is familiar. Yeah. I feel like there's something harking back to something.
I believe in reincarnation, definitely.
I like
which is perfect for the last question.
Okay.
Which is this is Caroline Ferguson classic, this one.
Yeah.
If you could come back, if you come back as a ghost, if you could haunt anywhere, which place would you haunt and why?
That's a really good one. For some reason, but I wouldn't want to be there forever. I think I'd want to be there for a bit. Would
Okay,
it have
you
to
can take a holiday there. It's a 2 weeks.
I could take a holiday. I'd love to. I think like my old school would be quite funny. Do you know what I mean? You could just like mess with people, like teachers that were a bit like, ugh. Where would I want to be more permanently? Again, like nowhere I'd want to be forever. I'm just trying to think what would be actually quite a successful, like a tube, and you're just like, you just haunt a tube for a bit, an old tube, or trains. I think that would always be quite spooky, and that would be quite. You seeing like, people, especially like when there's, when you're on a tube and like no one else is on the carriage, and then you would just like see a figure just like sitting, like on the end of like on a chair on like the end.
Or
of the
you could
platform.
always haunt one of those houses on the salt plains.
The salt plains, yeah. I think I already am. I think there's something that's
Parallel
connected.
universe.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing
Going on there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joseph. That was lovely. It's my first filmed interview.
I think there's an orb behind you.
Oh my God, is it my
There it is.
past self?
The orb's on you now.
Oh my God.
We're going to end on that note.
Yeah.